We're live.
Indeed we are. Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Mind of the Martyr. We're here, we're good, we're ready to go. I think, I hope. Fingers crossed.
I
They
had
say,
I had
realizing that what?
I was muted in Google Meets. I had to
You were
unmute.
muted in Google Meets.
That's good. It's fine. Make sure you're not muted in Google Meets.
I was gonna say this is a good time for everyone to check that the captions are going through, I suppose. It's not a Mind of the Martyr opening without something going slightly wrong. Whether that be technology or creepy crawlies or God knows what else.
Rude.
I forgot about the creepy.
You need to check your space again, right?
Yeah,
before we
literally,
start.
There's no such thing as a perfect show, and that's what makes live theater and live production so amazing.
Oh, absolutely. It took me, what was it, 2 hours after we stopped broadcasting to be able to catch that bloody thing. Wasn't fun, but yes. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into some TTRPG goodness here. But before that, there are a few folks that help keep us going, keep us on the air, keep the lights on over at Friends Who Roll Dice. One of those folks is the advert you just saw, Dice Envy. You should definitely go ahead and check them out. The affiliate link is in the chat if you want to get yourself some fancy dice and support us while you're doing it. There are also the folks at Grinding Coffee, a Black LGBT plus owned coffee company. Let's be real, most of us are into some kind of caffeinated drink or hot chocolate or something along those lines, or it's spooky season, so of course, pumpkin spice is back, and Grinding Coffee will have you sorted for all of those. They have a fantastic mix of different blends, different flavors. You can even grab yourself sample packs as well, so you can mix and match and try a little bit of everything and see what you prefer, see what you like, see what new things you can explore. So yeah, go ahead and check them out at Grinding Coffee Co. on Twitter or Grinding Coffee Co. online as well. Throw in FWRD, and that gets you a little bit of money off your order, and that'll support them and support us. It is a absolute win-win, and they're fantastic, and their coffee is brilliant. So go for it. We also are, of course, a Roll20 ambassador stream. Roll20 is an online toolset that allows you to bring TTRPGs online around the world. You can go ahead and check them out, sign up for free at roll20.net. And if you want to give a little bit more of an experience and a unique twist to your games, there are also pro packs which unlock additional features. And the highest tier also comes with a free game every month, along with Roll20 has a marketplace where you can pick up a whole bunch of games, whether they be your super well-known favorites or fantastic independent games, and they're all pre-converted into Roll20, ready for you to just pick up and play with your friends. So go ahead and check them out at roll20.net. This is how we roll. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into the episode here. We didn't chat about who was doing the recap, so I'm going to be nice and do it. So, our party here is in the town of Tarkisa, this port city of sorts, some weird spot between a city and a town. You were here investigating the disappearance and apparent smuggling of some small purple feline creatures that led you down a bit of a rabbit hole. You've uncovered a smuggling operation with creatures seemingly frozen in time, individuals, individuals that you weren't particularly familiar with being mentioned in sections of notes, connections to other planes through a small portal in that room. There were a lot of mysteries that were uncovered. Some discussions were had between the party, some shedding some light on the situation, others uncovering even more mysteries, such as the strange shrine in one of the other rooms that seems to be dedicated to a little known figure known as the Construct. After a small discussion and reviewing the notes, there was a mention of a Father Ty who decided to follow that lead and come back to the tavern. Indeed, mentioned to the barkeep that you were looking for this Father Ty individual, and were ushered into this large kind of soup kitchen of sorts, this place for folks down on their luck to get a meal for the night. And this large, handsome individual known as Avi, who had informed you that they know the workings of Tarkiza a little bit, but not so much the magical situation. They're definitely more social than magical. And so they decided to lead you to a friend of theirs, Ty. Stepping through a secret little cavern off to the side and spending a good few minutes following small, damp, winding paths, you step into this very large room with this single bright beam of light coming down from a crack in the ceiling. This entire room is covered in plant life, in moss, in ivy, in all sorts of smaller plants and glowing fireflies kind of scattered around and creating this beautiful scene. Multiple sections of water just falling seemingly from no source, but kind of falling all the way down these walls, and that small beam of light kind of reflecting off the water, creating this just incredible scene in front of you. And in the center, this very large red, mostly red leaved Thai tree that was in the center, probably 20 foot tall-ish. The entire being kind of leans in a little bit and greets Jacaranda by name. Says that they had seen the group in their dreams and that they were happy to see everyone. And that's where we are picking up as the kind of twisted bark kind of approximates a face mixed in with the leaves that kind of create this more familiar visage of a person rather than just this plantoid construct. Feigns a smile of sorts, twists some of the bark off to the side and kind of moves a few of the leaves in order to just kind of be as warm and inviting as it possibly can be. It seems to lean in a little closer as the rustling and then the bending of wood as one of the many branches kind of comes down, and this collection of thin ovular red and green kind of leaves reaches down and kind of places itself probably just like 4 or 5 foot away from you, Jacaranda, and the leaves kind of splay a little bit, just holds there.
Like for handshake is what's happening?
Looks like the best approximation, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Jack just kind of like slowly outreaches their hand and then turns back to the party and says, I'm not tall. Because they're like 20 feet. I'm
I love
short.
that the tallest one is saying this. other than Ty, of course.
Yeah. Like I'm like half as big as
Now he's bowing when you turn around, so she's like taking a knee, head down, bowing.
Also bows.
You notice now as you say this and kind of look back towards Ty, a lot of the other branches have begun to kind of like splay outwards and has now kind of begun to fill even more of the room. But one branch seems to kind of come out and another, and almost for each person, each individual here, a branch will come towards you and the leaves will splay. Again, about 4 or 5 foot ahead of you.
Mara looks up at the face. Do you do hugs?
I'm not entirely sure how that would work.
Mara just
One of the-
grabs the branch that's there. Just
There's like one branch that comes up almost mimicking like a finger. It's just like, oh. And then as you wrap yourself around the branch, you see the bark begin to almost split and fray. Not painfully, but it seems to kind of split, and these small little threads of twigs kind of begin to grow around where you're hugging and just kind of slide their way into maybe one of the weirdest embraces you've ever had, but they attempt to reciprocate the best they can.
Like Jack's fireflies are just like going around like her head. She's kind of just a lot is going on in her brain.
Avi will step forwards a little bit. Just, I'm sorry to go ahead and do this on such short notice, but the folks here have kind of just gestures towards you all. The tree kind of leans in a little bit, just yes. A few slightly more lost souls than perhaps is expected in Tarkisa, but how can I help you all?
Oh, we aren't necessarily the lost souls.
I am definitely. So I'll just say that.
I mean, I feel like we're fairly well off. We're looking for to we're looking to help a lost soul whose soul might have departed from this mortal plane in hopes that it'll help some animals. And I'm like gonna gesture to the two of them. Were mentioned in a note left for this lost soul. May they rest in peace. I mean, peace. Peace. Just peace.
I left my treasure in one piece.
Just a single piece. Not pieces, just peace.
Avi gives you a weird look. Just like a full eyebrow raised, head turned, and kind of shakes it off a little.
out of character. What was the guy's name again?
Theme.
Kasim.
Yeah, Kasim.
Okay. Mara would say, we had to dispatch of Kasim because, well, he was doing some shady things and harming animals.
And attacked
Um,
us.
so he's no longer of this plane, but we would like to track down the person who forced him into this life and have words. Well, probably more than words, but yeah.
Also, have you seen any purple felines?
Just in general? Or are you looking for a specific creature?
We're looking for a specific creature's family.
So both?
I see. It has been quite some years since I rooted here, but the Baladan Maya does tend to have creatures of that description living in it. Small, feline, purple individuals. Their family is more than likely living out there.
What?
So can you help us find the personages that were forcing Kasim to his life of no goodery?
Animal treatery.
The vows kind of stretch outwards, almost mimicking this kind of big, kind of almost yawn of sorts, as there's the heavy creaking of wood mixed with the aggressive, almost rustling of many leaves, just cascading down this thing. Then, I suppose I could enlighten you the best I can. I've heard many a story and many a tale. You require
About.
It's just Dawn and Mara like leaning forward.
looks towards Avi. It's just yeah. So I don't I don't know if you remember this at all, but there was an individual who I brought down here who was dealing with a situation where a lot of their secrets were on the line. A gentleman by the name of Kasim, and well, it's and that cut off immediately as Ty just oh, that one. I am aware of this Kasim individual, yes. An unfortunate situation between themselves and this odd creature. There was an unfortunate connection. We folks of our kind with practice have a way of judging which way the wind will blow in regards to some individuals, but Kasim was misplaced. There was something about his energy that was not of anything that I've encountered before. I would assume some kind of pact was made at some point between something. We tried to get more information when he had journeyed his way down here, but he was skittish, to say the least. I'm aware of those kinds of magics, connections and tethers made between people, both beneficial and not so much. It very much appeared that way. As for the creatures, I'm not entirely sure what that situation was about. Do you have any other further information that you've managed to glean? All that I know is that the lands are bereft of a few individuals who should be returned to their proper place.
Well,
We have the animals. If that would help at all.
they are currently in stasis.
We're
Yeah.
not sure how to stop that part of it.
But we were told by Kasim that the key to freeing them is through his employer, Aravatun.
There is a ripple across all of the leaves as the very kind of the very pretty and soft like red green fades across the leaves for just a split second, go bright crimson red. The entire pigment of the leaves just changes for a moment, and then they pull back to the regular version. The leaves kind of retreat back in from almost like a porcupine state where they've all kind of bladed outwards and then kind of retreat and relax.
Sorry, but Mara would have pulled her swords.
I'm going to assume from that reaction that Aravatun is not someone we want to engage with.
Where did you hear that name?
Kasim.
I suppose even your kind, as it were, would have lost that information to history.
He just you people.
Come now, get yourselves comfortable. This may take a moment, and some of the vines kind of begin to twist, and you see some of the leaves begin to grow, and sections of these branches begin to transform and almost create these small kind of very pretty benches. The leaves kind of tighten, create this very firm surface all of a sudden as they spread outwards. It makes a few benches across.
It's story time.
I will also sit. I'm pretty sure I have a plate to go, so I'm gonna sit with my plate that I took from.
Yes, you are. You do still have food.
I was gonna say I'm fairly sure I grabbed the plate to go. So
Yeah, you had a plate.
I'm going
No,
to.
it doesn't.
It's okay. I'll sit next. I'm going to go over to one of the benches and pull Naui down next to me, and offer. I took one of everything, so there is a lot of food on this plate.
Jack will ask Do you mind if I just take root to share in the experience with you?
The green stands out this time, kind of washing over the leaves for a moment. Just, it has been a great long time since I have had the privilege. You are more than welcome.
So she'll just go to like a dirt section that seems nice and take root like she does when she sleeps.
I pause for a moment and just. In fact, perhaps there is another question I may ask of you, Jacaranda. I can be more helpful and more succinct if I know what you already know. I shall not probe any further than what you offer, but additional information would be helpful.
Okay. And so she like she'll close her eyes and the fireflies will like start to like calm and like settle, and then she would just anything that had to do with Kasim, the construct, the purple cat, all the animals, basically that is what she'd like offer up.
I think down or just send down the group text as she's saying this, like, please don't say that we beheaded Kasim and then spoke to his head post death. Just avoid that.
Also in the group chat, should we show some of the animals out of the greenhouse?
Oh, I will, but
Okay.
it's going to be like a mentally. And I mean, Ty's going to know about the decapitation, but you guys don't know
I
that.
actually think you need to take off the ring to be able to share your thoughts with him, because I think it totally blocks him from being able to read your thoughts.
I thought you could allow people to.
No,
Is that-
to talk, but not thoughts.
Oh, I thought you could.
It's different.
With
Okay.
like in Kaima, just every time I take root, I am like exchanging information with like the soil.
So it's not like a mental thought.
So it's not
like
necessarily
It's like the way that
yeah,
that trees
nutritional
talk.
trees.
thought.
Yeah,
It's a tree
actually, the
thought.
ways that trees like communicate with through like the soil and roots and stuff. So I don't think it's exactly the same.
It is not the same, no. In Kaima communicate both like trees do in a very kind of like biological level, and also it's very much an exchanging of energy rather than just memories, so to speak. It's not quite like you would swiftly know this. Two Enkaima, specifically two Enkaima that are sharing history, is a very, very different experience than just reading one's memory. It's a very kind of whole spirit exchange, as it were. There's a lot more to it.
But that's a good thought, though.
Definitely, yeah. You don't want to. You don't want to be like,
here
yeah,
you go, and
you're
like, no, I can't.
But yeah, as this connection takes place, there's a very kind of peaceful lull that comes across the room during this. The plants and the flowers almost begin to stop moving. The waterfalls off to the side begin to turn into just a peaceful kind of trickle rather than what they were before. And there's a very kind of, it's a very intense atmosphere for the rest of you. Not in a hostile or an aggressive way, but just like the air has gotten a lot thicker all of a sudden. Not to a dangerous degree, but a noticeable one. And there is a moment where the essence of Tai, so to speak, kind of begins to pulsate through the entire creature for just a moment. And then they stop and they lean back down towards all of you. Just, you have been on an interesting journey, it would seem, from what I have gathered. You've collected a lot of scraps of information here and there, so I will do my best to put those pieces together. Aravathun is an individual also known as the Ever-Living. They are the first, as far as the stories say anyway, they are the first to have come through to this plane by accident from whichever plane they call home. I'm not quite aware of it, but they had waged a horrendous conflict with individuals of your kinds on this plane, individuals of great magical renown. In the old histories, it was known that this plane was then sealed by these individuals, but Aravathun not only survived, but thrived. Very quickly, their civilization had split into fractions, sections of small factions of individuals, I guess you could say. That is what a lot of your magical histories would call the first foray into this strange plane, but there was one that had happened before, many years prior. It used to be a very old civilization, far beyond any of our comprehensions, really. They had initially met with Aravathun. A first meeting went horribly awry, and that civilization quickly collapsed itself in order to protect the others that were still here on this planet, in this plane. It's all interconnected on that front. These ones that hid themselves to protect themselves. It all comes back down to Aravathun and their selfish, destructive desire to control what they shouldn't be able to control. Unfortunately, that is a very mortal emotion to have for many individuals. And so there are more than likely, people on this plane still who wish to treat and wish to deal and wish to parley with a Ravathun. Create something that they can control, something that they have power over. Not entirely sure of what else exactly you know about history, and specifically magical history, but there have been factions before the invention of your Magicanum that were investigating and actively probing into other planes. I don't know much about their current dealings or anything within the last few 100 years, at the very least, but if Arathun is looking to finish what they had started, they would be hunting for the most powerful, the most learned individuals. It would not surprise me if they had a contact. I had hoped that whatever had sealed the plane off had taken root, and that I would never have to hear that name again, other than in long, long ago oral history. But they are an incredibly dangerous individual. Wildly so. Many, many had fallen simply to seal them away the first time. And their connection to the plane, to this plane, created a lot of calamities. They've constantly been trying to enter this plane and to gather control where they can. They corrupted the mind of Vistra-Lishadar, one of the most powerful draconic entities that this plane has ever seen, and created the War of the Shadow Scale. They had stepped into the lands of the Fae and had created and nursed an archfey that attempted to combine this lands and destroy it, and that too failed in the past. All of your history is much of it. All the corruption, all of the disasters, all of the pain and the suffering, it links back to this one individual.
Someone's gonna send down the group chat. Should we tell Ty about Harmony?
In like the sharing, like, did I get anything that would like ping other pieces like of what we've experienced or know specifically?
So you get Jacaranda, a very different experience. The words kind of wash past your senses, and I believe, unless I'm wrong, I believe this is the first time you've directly shared your experiences with an Enkaima specifically.
Yeah.
It is a very vivid experience. A mixture of your, almost like your magical signatures and almost your souls kind of begin to mix and enkindle, and you experience a lot of these memories firsthand. You see a party of adventurers around a campfire, distance away, probably 40, 50 foot, talking in relatively hushed tones about artifacts that they had found. You see a lot of these kind of vivid retellings of this information kind of almost in Ty's imagination being kind of created here. You see this discussion of what appear to be these kind of like blue-robed individuals, all with wands in their hands, kind of panicked. A few of them with books to the side, a few of them with what appear to be kind of like magical talismans that they're currently holding in their hands that are kind of wrapped around their necks. And they're very clearly moving with purpose. They're very injured. There's a lot of both magical and physical wounds across a lot of them, and there's a lot of kind of cross chatter about what they had discovered, the tear that they had closed. What if other people had found out? You hear the vivid roaring suddenly as that memory is broken. The vivid, deep, powerful roaring of a dragon as a new memory kind of begins to form in front of you, as you see this huge, beyond comprehension shadow dragon with sections of like undead flesh that are kind of beginning to seal. You see almost a snippet of the War of the Shadow Scale before you. You see these three dragons battling this creature, and hundreds upon hundreds of mortal soldiers helping out where they can, both against this massive creature and against some of these kind of like shadowy constructs. You see a familiar flash during that memory before it shatters apart. Three of these dragons, one of them, first of all, huge, red, old, almost armored scales of sorts, like battle hardened, that comes across and tears across the sky almost like a comet. The second one, you see this huge, shimmering, almost partially invisible green dragon. Definitely more towards something of your ilk, almost, Jacaranda. There's sections of moss that are growing across the wings. There are vines and plants that are kind of growing across the draconic form itself. It comes up, and the third, the truly familiar, a two sets of wings, one towards the front by the shoulders, one towards the back, and this smaller kind of final section of wings that kind of balance out the tail. Sleek and slender, this beautiful silver blue coloration across the entire thing. As you watch, for just a moment, as the dragon comes up, you see the aggressive, battle-hardened face of Andavariel stare you back for just a moment before the memory shatters again. You see, as another memory kind of comes into place, you see this purple-ish black a portal of sorts in front of you. Less kind of magic and organized, though, and more like almost a tear in the space ahead of you. You see this weird gelatinous creature standing in front of it. This mixture of prismatic colors kind of just passing through its form. It seems to stare at the portal for a moment, and there's almost an energy of regret and distress that kind of fills you for a moment before that memory also kind of falls apart. There's a few more kind of just more minor visions of just collections and parties of individuals that have various stories that are kind of corresponding with the words that Ty is saying. And then they mention about the leaking into the Feywild, and another memory comes before you of this wide, beautiful land with this huge section of kind of like silver white energy that's building up. You see this band of adventurers, weapons drawn, bloody and beaten, but still holding their ground as this huge, just almost a cloak of an entity of silverish energy that kind of shimmers, partially invisible, and across the entire cloak it is wreathed in black and red thorns as the almost head of the creature, or an approximation of it, stares down towards the party. And that memory shatters as well and fades, and you almost relive all of those memories back to back to back to back to back. And there is a presence in all of them, a dark presence. Those little snippets of memories you remember seeing, just the small bead of a bright blue eye in many of them. And that's when the initial connection kind of begins to not fade, but lull.
But the Wands question, Mara would say, it's not our place. If they want to contact Ty, they can. And then Mara starts in on the questions to Ty. First of all, how old are you? Because as far as Mara knows, that Enkaima were created like way after the invasion. Like way, way, way after.
Our kind were created after the sealing of the monarch, for the most part, but some of us were given new life and new consciousness immediately, new memories, and some of us held on to the memories of the soil beneath, and the stories that we had been told, and the communications that we had gotten, and the magic that had created us, the memory of that also. So I am old, but my memory is far, far older, if that makes sense.
Okay. Have you heard of Kaladas, Grelanox, Quabora, and Ruzare? I have these names written down.
Pauses for a moment, and no, those do not sound familiar to me.
What about the saying to put out the myriad suns to darken the light?
That was a common battle cry of the ever-living. Not the catchiest of mantras, but one that was effective.
Okay, before I ask my next question, out of character. So, for what I understand, he said that beings stayed here and stayed hidden from the other plane.
Not that they stayed here and stayed hidden, but that they had constantly pulled the strings with individuals who they felt like could be manipulated.
Okay. So, are you aware of a cult of Avathurn that's active here? Or however you say his name. I'm bad at saying names.
Not a cult of Arathathun, no.
The thorned bolt of the thorned crown.
The Thorned Crown. that is that is a more recent tale on that one. That is a group of individuals who wish to contact the monarch and finish what they had started. Connected in a very roundabout way with Aravathoon's manipulation of that archfey, but not a direct cult of Aravathoon, I suppose.
We would have Dwan give her the bag of holding. No, Jesse's not here. She would take out the orb from the necro dancer. What does this do?
From the necro dance.
Yes. We haven't figured out what it does, and this guy's like all magic, all history, all. What does this do?
The boughs kind of split and lean down, and the leaves kind of begin to not like touch, but they begin to like wrap around and create almost like this seal a little bit away. And they just kind of say, "This will take but a few moments." And as they do so, there's this kind of soft red and green pulsating energy that kind of wraps around a lot of the leaves here, and almost as you hold the orb forwards, it creates this kind of almost a seal of sorts, as they very clearly begin casting some kind of spell.
I have a question. Any of those names you said a while ago about you said some really dragony names.
Yes.
Do any of those names ring any bells to me?
Sure. Go ahead and roll me a history check.
I will do so. First dice of this session, I think. History.
Think it is.
Best
Jesse, I
roll.
pulled out the orb of the necro dancer out of the bag of holding, by the way.
Oh, what? Okay.
Oh, huh?
Right. That's
Go on, looking up from plate of food.
Well, if that's the case, it would have to be Mara rummaging through Dewan's case to get what.
Look, it's real. Like Avi's jambalaya. Mwah.
Oh my
Delicious.
god!
That
I
makes me
want
jambalaya.
jambalaya.
I got
Oh,
a
my grandma.
I got a 15 for what it's worth.
15. Okay, cool. So you're aware of the War of the Shadow Scale. You've had individuals that have come through the Veil, who have perhaps been a veteran of the conflict or have just known about it. It's one of the more definitive places in Vacant history, and still a relatively recent memory for a lot of the individuals who are around. That conflict was essentially very much spurned by this individual, Vistralishadar, who a very cocky
Now
dragon.
he's just saying letters. Oh.
A very cocky, draconic individual who had claimed multiple titles for themselves and then decided that they were the best dragon around and decided to go ahead and try and usurp the peace between the different kinds of dragons and both the peace between the dragons and the mortal races as well. That is how much of the kind of how much of the following few events had begun to be spurned. The conflict between them and their creations and the dragons that they had managed to control and coerce to their side against the a lot of the other dragons and the mortal races, the destruction of the home of the dragons on Vega, the Scale Heart, which is now known as the Demon's Tomb, which is just a complete wasteland, essentially, just completely devoid of life. The then the kind of not quite an exodus of the dragons, but the kind of their retreat away from the mortal races, as they just kind of said, okay, it's very clear that we aren't leading right, therefore we need to go ahead and let someone who can have a turn and just kind of guide from the sidelines. So the retreat of dragons away from the public eye and into more of a life of seclusion and that kind of thing. The creation of the Dragonborn, the creation of the Changelings. Like there's a lot of events that kind of spurned from this. And you would, as a relatively learned individual, you would be aware of a lot of this. But yeah, that name is not strange to you. That's a very old and legitimately evil power. They're one of the few truly evil dragons that have existed in Vega.
Cool. I have a question for them when they are done with other people's questions. A lot of people had questions before Naui, who is, I can't stress enough, has not moved from position of kneeled with her head down. She has not looked up whatsoever. She did not get on a bench. She's not moved.
All right. You've got some time as this spell casts, so if there's any other questions that people had, I know that was a bit of an exposition wall there, but
I mean, no, I think Dawn would have just nudged Naui with her foot and been like, Are you all right?"
You get an answer in your head. She does not talk out loud. Yes, I am fine, but this is respect. This is unto a god to me.
This is the most respectful I think I've seen you ever.
Well, I guess you've never. I haven't had another reason to be this respectful before.
We haven't really encountered that. Did we get an age of how old Ty was? Many.
Enough.
Many.
yeah.
Thousands?
Well-
Should I say thousands?
So the
Eons? Eons.
The
essentially
current body
yeah, and Kaima
is
have kind of
such
been
in this old.
yeah, and Kaima have kind of been a bit of a weird spot in Vacant history because not a lot of individuals know how long Inkaima have actually been a thing. A lot of them have kind of just been chilling in Lathinkala. This event, though, like the battle between the monarch and other individuals, was over 1,000 years ago.
I was gonna say long enough where it's forgotten history, apparently.
Yeah, over 1,000 years ago. Over 2,000 years ago is when history, a lot of older history was kind of thrown out due to being essentially just toxic. It is basically the vibe. A lot of the old kingdoms and old civilizations of the planet basically said, "Hey, our history kind of sucks. We actually have the power to be better people, so let's do that." And had gotten rid of a lot of the rules and laws and guidelines that they had been following up until that point, and set out to become better. A lot of these events that this individual, that Ty has been reciting here, are at least over 2,000 years old.
He made it sound like someone forced these people out, but Harmony made it sound like they talked them into leaving. Right? Am I getting that vibe?
There is.
I'm like, there's some discrepancies there because Harmony's like, yeah, just talk to them. that's what we did last time. And this dude's like, nah, they kicked them in the butt and made them get out.
There was a war with the
There-
shadow dragons.
I mean, that's a different part of history entirely.
Yeah, it's like they're two different histories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the crown, the thorn one is later than the shadow war.
Yeah. So the War of the Shadow Scale is the most recent conflict, or large conflict. Before, like, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years before that was the clash with the monarch. And then from what you learned from Harmony, their initial contact with this species was thousands and thousands of years ago.
Oh.
Okay, so Harmony and them talked them out. They came back because this guy, I can't say his name,
Ravathun.
came back with a bunch of folks
Exactly.
and
Aravathun
then was kicked out. So this is
Aravathun kept poking the bear, which led to them being removed, which you picked up. You know that information through the information that you had picked up during your foray with the Lunasoritas. You know that the Magicanum had poked back into that plane because they were cocky and they thought that they could control things, and very much realized that Aravathun could not be controlled.
And that was recent.
That was past 100 years or so.
Am I correct to?
So I'm gonna need a timeline in the Discord.
I can definitely, I can
remember
definitely
these.
do that. This is a lot of this is 2.5 years worth of threads that are all kind of tying together.
Am I correct to be putting together? It seems like the Illithid kidnapping is connected to this Aravathun thread pulling.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
My next question is for Ty. If Ty no longer looks busy, whenever Ty's done with this spell, I will ask a question. She's not going to interrupt them. So if anyone else has something, go for it.
I'm not asking Ty, but because I actually saw Queen Elowen's dragon form, I would mention that specifically, that we should warn the queen, actually name drop Aravathun, since she knows them, at least, so there's some warning that she actually can see this coming, if maybe she's a target, or just she's involved.
Haruki, the queen's a dragon.
Haruki, welcome to our mess. I also feel like it'd be good to name drop Aravathun because it could push the queen to really look into, because there's some politics involving the Magicanum.
Yeah.
And if Aravathun wants the learned and most powerful, that's the Magicanum.
I'm forgetting what the.
Welcome to our mess, Haruki. Welcome to the family. Sometimes you leave to save a cat and you figure out there's a 10,000 year plane by a lich.
Okay, so Mara is gonna go. Okay, so what I'm sending the queen is Aravathun. She would say it right. I can't say it right.
I think
you said it. You said it right. You got it.
You did
Aravathun.
it.
Aravathun
is puppeteering the Magicanum.
Most likely, yes.
This particular iteration of the Magicanum, I think, is what was implied, right?
Well, the last 100-year Magicanum.
Yeah. They're working towards. So wait, can we also then make the connection that all of the animals in stasis would be used for chimera experiments?
Hold on. Remember when the queen was almost assassinated by the zombie-fied thing.
Oh yeah. Wow.
That's feeling very shadow zombie dragon to me, now that I'm thinking about like that. So maybe
Hi, do you know Queen Elwyn?
so yeah, Ellis will, I mean, not Ellis, I'm Ellis, not Jack. Hi. Jack will mention like actually kind of like touch on like specific things that she saw or experienced but wasn't spoken aloud.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, and at this question, Mara, Ty pauses for a moment, thinking, just, I don't really keep up with your current politics. Not entirely sure who is queen or king or.
You have to
monarch
use
of
her
what.
dragon name.
Dragon name. But Mara, what's use your dragon name?
Undavarial? Yeah, I think that was right.
Yeah.
While mentioning Undavarial, the kind of the tone and I'm trying not to say.
If I get crimson
language,
pokies again, he's getting stabbed. I'm just saying.
I was trying to say body language, but it's not quite a body. So we're just gonna go with body language, and you know what I
Leaf
mean.
language?
Trunk language. Bark language. Trunk language. Limb language. Limb language.
Bark language is like dogs.
Folial language.
Dogs just uses our eyebrows.
There's a green pulse of just Undavarial. Now that is the name I know. I am well familiar with that individual. They have come for my counsel often, much like you are right now, in fact.
Okay, Ty, I don't mean to be forward, but is your name Ty something else?
It's just Ty.
Okay, so then she sends a message to Queenie Face. Ty says that Arevathum is puppeteering the current Magicannum, and they're causing the mess that we're in. So be prepared. We'll be home a week. And apparently I cannot hear anyone. Hold on. Oh, okay.
Any of us
Nobody was
anything?
making sounds.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I'm like, I can't hear anyone.
We were giving you the space to send the message.
That is what Mara would say.
It's sending, right? So they can reply.
Yes.
Okay. There's a few moments of pause, and you just hear, well, fuck. That's it.
We're so besties with the queen. Come on.
She has been notified. We should probably hurry this all up though, and like get back.
Is Ty done with the spell?
Yeah, as this has kind of come to an end, the spell is completed, and the orb is handed fully back to you, Mara, along with a single leaf that breaks away from the branch and kind of slips into your hands. You realize that in Sylvan, there is writing.
Does it say, can I get Jacaranda's number? Just kidding.
Jesus. In Sylvan, there is like this etching of. Do you read Sylvan?
I read Sylvan. No, I don't. I lied. I read Draconic and Elvish.
The
You know
panic.
it's
So it's
not.
kind of like Elvish,
Panic.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see like slight parts that you would recognize because Elvish is a like a later language of Sylvan. He just wrote down how the orb works for you. It looks like a small set of instructions, but yeah, it's Sylvan.
I can
That's fine.
read Sylvan if you want, so
I can
whenever.
comprehend languages
Oh, yeah, that too.
later. So Mara's just like concerned now, like because the queen said, "Oh," so she's like, "Oh, we gotta go."
But the
Um,
spell is completed and concluded, and that is handed over to you.
Thank you, Ty.
Now we, for the first time, will speak up. May I approach?
Your respect is graciously appreciated, but the formality is not entirely required. I shan't stop you if that makes you feel more comfortable. You are welcome to approach.
She'll get up. Well, my mother taught me manners, and I remember where I came from. And she will approach and she will offer up a single jasmine flower from her bag with her hand outstretched. This is a gift from the Verdant Vale. I assume you know what it is. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do. I don't. I guess you do now because you've met Jack. But I offer it with a question, because no question should be asked without a gift for someone such as you. Do you know Nevin and how I may find them?
Now that is a name that I have not heard in many years. It has been an interesting day for nostalgia, it would seem. They take very slowly the jasmine flower from you, and it begins to kind of curl into one of the branches and almost amalgamates with the rest of the body of the creature. You see it kind of slowly traveling along the branches and kind of coming towards the center. They are an individual that I have had the pleasure and the blessing to have encountered the energy of, at the very least. I'm not entirely sure of quite how they work, but we have met, we have spoken. I unfortunately cannot give you a concrete answer as to where you may find them, but they were a fascinating and wonderful individual when I had spent a brief amount of time with them.
Do you know perhaps places they'd like to be? Places they enjoyed?
Nevin was. They were a huge fan of places where the magics of nature would coalesce. Places of equal parts fascination and danger for many of the mortal races, but pauses for a moment. You see the leaves kind of ripple just slightly. I can't think of many specific places, unfortunately. We did not know each other quite that well, but I have heard whispers over the years of the veil and its impact on individuals. So I hold you with just as much respect as you appear to hold of me.
You honor me. Thank you. And now we go back to a bow. I fear whatever is happening, you will need a lot of help. And as a protector of people and protector of the veil, it feels like it is my duty to find all the allies we can. So if you hear anything, please tell the wind, tell the birds. I will be listening.
There is one thing. You watch as the branches begin to come out again, this time almost encompassing the majority of the room. Just, it has been a long time since I have attempted this.
A bigger hug.
I would
Yes.
liked just
I was-
suddenly just
I was imagining that scene in like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when the freaking grandpa who hasn't walked in forever finally just starts dancing around the room. You're like, dude, what? Couldn't have done this earlier? Couldn't have done this
No.
earlier?
Sorry, please continue with a very cool scene.
Yes.
Jesus. They stretch their ways out, and as they do so, they begin to encompass more of the room, and they speak of just, I require a moment. If anyone who is not of a fae or enchimic description could step out of the room for a moment. Looks towards Avi, and Avi kind of pauses, and then kind of gets it a few seconds later and gives a knowing nod and kind of just, it'll be fine. I'm sure we'll go ahead and get some things sorted. Why don't we step out into the corridor for just a moment and
So is he asking for me and Jack to stay and everyone else to go?
I think so. Is anybody else considered Faye?
Nope.
Not to my
Okay.
knowledge.
I'm not sure what Iris is, so
Iris
So maybe
T-posing in the
Iris
middle
just
of the
staying,
room.
like-
just here, just
Yep.
chilling.
Loki forgot Iris was with us. Izzy, we miss you.
Mara would say, I'm going to the docks. Make sure you find out about the animals. And she would leave.
I'll go with you. Hiroki, do you want to come?
I was gonna ask Avi if you needed any help with anything, but if I guess we're going to the docks, we can do that too.
You could also help Avi. We can touch base.
Got the group chat now.
Yeah, I didn't want to say like we have the rings for these strangers.
Oh, that's that is incredibly kind of you. Yeah, sure. I can go ahead and get some sorted here. And you said you were working here already, right? What's it like? You said you were sorting out medicine or something. How exactly were you? And he kind of begins to as you're walking away, he's pulling out a little notebook, Hiroki, and he's ready to kind of listen to the advice he wants you to give.
I think
So we were
Dawan
shipping
and
it under
Mara.
the-
Oh no, go ahead.
we were shipping it under the guise of hot liquids and other things like that. But within the shipping manifests, we're also able to get small stores of medicines where they needed to go.
Really, that's interesting. How about if I could go ahead and get some and like as they're walking away, they're making this like diagram of notes as the group begins to step away here.
I feel like Dawn would be doing the same thing with Mara, but in like the group chat of just like, okay, so this is what we learned. This is what we need to
So here's the
remember.
timeline.
Okay, so like, what's our next plan as we're walking to the docks?
Well, we still need to return the cat to his family, hopefully. But I'm going to go talk to our vampire girlfriend and convince her to let me have her flippin' ship.
I'll help you with that. And that's just, yeah, that's us talking.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
just like, okay, our timeline just got like cut into like really short time. Yeah.
As the group has now stepped away, Noe and Jacaranda's the only two left in this room, along with Ty. You see the moss suddenly come to life, and with an incredible speed, it moves and shifts and grows all the way across the wall, creating this like moss barrier that completely blocks off the doors. In terms of exits, the moss kind of continues to grow, and very quickly, this entire room, all of the walls and everything are just moss. And as the coating kind of completes, Ty just says, this might look a little threatening, but I promise it's just an old creature trying to shake off the rust off of some magic. And as they say that, the moss suddenly kind of begins to glow a little bit of red, just in little speckles. And very swiftly, the entire room begins to fill with these beautiful, warm, glowing red fireflies that begin to slowly kind of orbit around the room. The one beam of light is still on Ty and collapsing down and meeting the ground, and sections of it kind of reflect through the fireflies, and as they do so, there's this little bit of kind of like a gold tinge that kind of fills the room, and it begins to kind of spin all of these fireflies faster and faster. You hear Ty say, all right, I call upon the dirt and the sky, call upon the energies. May the barrier between the snake and the world hold, and may we learn what we need to learn. And as the fireflies begin to twist and twirl more, there's this very powerful pulse of magical energy that is immediately recognizable as one of kind of Fey origin. You get the impression if you yourselves weren't used to this energy, this would actually be like incredibly harmful. But you're kind of just encountered with a very heavy atmosphere. It's very kind of hot and humid and gross as this happens. And there is a pulse of red light that kind of starts at the very top of Ty and pulses all the way through its being, through its roots. And you can see both through the moss and through the ground itself, this red pulse of energy. And it continues around the outside of the room. It almost begins to spin, following the fireflies. It's a very kind of like Cerebro vibe for just a moment, before the entire thing stops in just a moment. The moss fades away and kind of drops to the ground, begins to just kind of vanish into ether. The entire tree kind of begins to sulk just a little bit for a moment. And you see slight cracks in the bark that are immediately kind of beginning to heal. The small cracks are there. And there's thin lines of a thick red-brown sap that kind of begins to run down the tree. I suppose perhaps a little too rusty. Nawi, was it?
Yes.
I do not know what has become of Nevin, but I know that they were a noble and kind individual. I do not know where your answers lie, but I do know a place where you can start. And one of the branches kind of twists, and there's still a little bit of sap kind of dripping from the branch, but it leans in and presents a leaf to you, much like it did with Mara. You can see the scribblings of Sylvan across the flower itself.
I'll take it very delicately, and I'll read it.
And you read Sylvan, yes?
Yep.
Excellent.
Sure do.
Just wanted to double check for some reason.
You're like, someone here read. Yeah, I read me. I do
You two
indeed
both
read
read
and
it.
speak Sylvan.
Excellent. The writing at first is kind of just like it's a little strange because it's a set of map coordinates that have then kind of been almost scratched out, and then there's another set of coordinates and they've scratched out, and there's probably 4 or 5 of those kind of as you.
It's left at the
read along
McDonald's.
this
No, it's
bit.
right at the Burger King. No, it's left at the McDonald's. It's right at the Burger King.
Exactly that. And then there is a solidified set of coordinates across a map. And underneath it just reads hang on, read the right note here so I don't give you the wrong name.
Right note with the wrong name. Right note and the wrong name.
There we go.
Why is Fall Out Boy suddenly in my head?
Yeah, it's about
have no idea.
That's exactly the energy I was going for. Thank you.
Dawn suddenly starts humming fucking medieval Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, you get the set of coordinates, and then underneath it's in Sylvan it translates slightly differently, but it would translate in common to the Blessed Genesis, essentially, is the translation. And it's probably one of the few landmarks on Vega that you actually know, just due to the fact that it is kind of a pilgrimage spot in the Vale for a lot of individuals who want to connect with the more kind of primordial powers. The Blessed Genesis is in Lathinkala. It is a small kind of shrine that is very, very, very inundated with primal energies.
It's where again?
It's in the continent of Lathinkala.
It's where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Lathinkala, yeah.
Yes. The very close to the site, actually, of where the battle between the monarch and the adventurers took place. And it's one of the areas, one of the small pockets of Lathinkala that is very the connection between the primordial constant, the Feywild, and the and the mortal plane is incredibly weak. So it's a lot of areas where either weird shit happens, frankly, or is a pilgrimage site for individuals who want to become closer to to the energies that they feel like sustaining. So yeah, you would know this purely as a pilgrimage site, an area that is relatively dangerous, but is supposedly a place of reverence for many. Not everyone. It's not enshrined in the culture, so to speak. But it's kind of one of those like, oh, maybe it's a place that I can get a little closer to the powers that I'm using.
Thank you. May I ask two more things? The first is, may I have a gift to take home to my mother?
One of the branches reaches down and kind of claws into the dirt underneath. And as it pulls it upwards and hands the small mound to you, in this cluster of kind of like underneath vines, kind of like simulating a hand, in the dirt through the center, you see this very, very small red-green bud that kind of pops up. It's just the bud, and it sits there. Okay, hand it to you.
I get like a Tupperware in
fantasy plastic. Yeah, fantasy plastic.
Put it in my bag. And then may I have a gift to give to when I live?
You look across you for a moment.
You talk to Jack. You know what I mean.
And they maybe something more practical is in order there. And they pick up again a little section of this soil. But as it picks up, it turns a slightly different color. It kind of goes from a brown to more of a kind of a mixture of like brown and gold. A section of their body kind of begins to lean across, and you see that some of the sap drips slowly into the mixture, and they kind of crunch it up and move it around. There's slight pulses of red energy from some of these leaves and some of these branch tips. This small kind of almost kind of looks like Play-Doh at this point, so it kind of turns into a little bit more of a sealed, kind of like a thick mixture. It's a little more practical. This, and reaches it out to you, is rather dangerous if put into the wrong hands, so please be careful with it. But, and kind of reaches it down and places it into your hands very carefully and brings it away.
Oh, okay.
It is a way of replenishing one's magical reservoirs. It is incredibly potent, but has a risk of creating too much energy in one such as yourselves, so please be careful. And there's a leaf that kind of breaks away and a little description in Sylvan.
Yes, of course. I of course will not take anything freely, so And now I will take off her original dagger from the veil and place it on the ground. I know once a Juju probably does not see a need for weapons, but again, I am a protector, and well, the veil is a safe place. Someone must be the fangs and the teeth to keep those safe. So I hope you accept this gift. And now, and I look back at Jack, I will give you two some time if you wish to speak at all. I know this is probably a very big deal for Jack, so Jacaranda, I will see you back at the harbor. And now he's gonna politely bow and excuse herself in case they want to, dish and kaima tea. Like, did you try the dirt in this place? Holy shit, you gotta go try it out.
What's the deal with food?
you know.
Why are they trying to get me to eat it all the time?
It seems like they just always gather, and that's what they do, is they put things in their mouths.
And
Why?
beds? What's up with those?
You know how you want to talk when, like, there's no white people around, like that.
Yes. So I think actually, if we wanted to do more of what everybody else is doing, since Ray and I were planning on doing like a one-on-one, so if we wanted to like end out the episode on what everybody else is
Sure.
doing, and then we can kind of like do our one-on-one.
Yes. Although there is one thing that I do want to go ahead and tackle
Okay.
in the public eye, as it were. As this has kind of ended and Nawi has stepped away and given you some time, Tai will sigh and just, maybe one day they will understand that we have already had quite the chance to communicate. I understand that there's a lot ahead of you, Jacaranda. You are an incredibly gifted individual who will be helpful for both yourself and this strange company you have found yourself in. But they lean in a little closer to you. Some of the vines are beginning to kind of nestle into the ground, kind of relax a bit. There's an awareness that has been fostered in you. I've seen it in your thoughts here, in your memories. An awareness of your true capabilities, things beyond what you seem to believe that you are capable of. And I would like to offer a key to unlock that capacity. I am not perfect by any means, but I have had quite some time to sit with our kind and our capabilities and the things that we are able to do. And I don't know when I'm going to see another of our kind, let alone one as bright as you. So
I don't know, but he's going to hear from Mara all the effing time.
Ty,
Ty, hey, Ty!
I do not need an answer from you now, but I am happy to show you a little more about how us and our kind can better help the world.
Yes, please. It has been something I've been searching for.
There are other discussions to have. There are conversations and things to do, and we will have plenty of time for that. But for now, and one of the vines wraps around Nawi's dagger and picks it up. You see, yeah,
Stabs you in the heart.
Now that we're alone. All right, what's everyone else doing?
does a 20 here. No, I'm kidding. They pick up the dagger, and the twigs and the vines begin to wrap around it almost. And there is a pulse of energy, this very obvious casting of magic, both across the red pulses of Ty's own magic, and the kind of like the usual greenish kind of emerald glow that you've gotten used to Nawi and kind of the verdant veil very much having the signature of. And as the vine kind of drifts towards you, the bark and the vines and the leaves unravel, and no longer is there a dagger in its place. Instead, the metal has been pulled out of the dagger and stretched, and almost kind of creates this small kind of twirl around this beautiful, just gorgeous staff left in its place. And there is a mixture of everything here. There's the slight browns of kind of like a sap like fluid that kind of consistently and continuously runs across very, very, very small, like there's one very small like river almost that kind of flows all the way around, teeny tiny, barely discernible. There is a soft glow of a mixture of both Thai and a Thai plant, like this small kind of plume at the end of these red leaves. And then sitting in between those leaves are these beautiful jacaranda flowers that have kind of begun to grow and mix in with the staff itself. There's colors of purple and yellow and green and red kind of all streaked through this, and sitting on the flowers and the top section of the staff itself are fireflies. Not only yours, but Ty's also, these small red ones that have kind of mixed in here, and this beautiful union of both of your beings has been kind of cemented into this staff. And we'll go ahead and kind of pass it over to you. And you can still see as well the small markings of metal and the markings of the verdant veil also kind of mixed in just a little bit from where the dagger was used as the initial material. They had it to you.
I mimic Nawi's like deep bow because I feel like that's what I should be doing now to accept like such a gorgeous gift. And now I have 2 staffs. I am very stable walking. I'm like those hikers with the
I was gonna say the same thing. You're like one of those hikers going downhill, fucking zooming.
I should learn how to use these things. Like, watch out, watch out, watch out.
back away and just... With that, I wish you luck and comfort and peace above all else.
Like, I live with Mara. What are you talking about, peace?
And so I would say, like, I thank you, and I know I will be back. I have a lot of questions. And I feel that you're the best person to answer them.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, ooh.
There's a smile as the flowers kind of pulse and continue to kind of just almost fix the room after the events that have just happened. But yes, as we switch over to the rest of the party here, how's the situation at the docks? What exactly is the plan here?
Well, on the way to the docks, Mara is going to message Harmony or send to Harmony. I don't know if your memory crystal is working, but if it is, you need to research Aravathun, and if it's not, you need to come here. And she gives Ty's location and talk to this being about Aravathun, because that is what we're dealing with, and not the nice people that you convinced to go away.
Okay. That's what you send?
That is what she sends, because Harmony's like, just talk them down. And Mara's like, no.
For some reason, I don't think that's gonna work this time around.
Like, you've been gone for a long time. Like, there's been some developments.
Right, exactly.
So Harmony,
That's what
I know
Mara's
you
saying.
I know your people were like pure magic made flesh. We aren't. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're very squishy flesh that is very squishy. That can be squashed.
And then she would also send to Sanctuary. Hey friend. There's this being named Aravathun that apparently is puppeteering the destruction of our world. I know you're asleep for a long time, but if you can't find any information about Aravathun, you can talk to this being, and gives Ty's location.
I'm not dropping the Google Maps pin
Just
on
dropping
Ty.
the exactly the same thing. Just dropping the pin, sending it everywhere.
Ty is here.
You do not get a response from Harmony. You do get one from Sanctuary that just says, your message has been heard. A conversation is required between me and other. We should talk too.
Okay, we'll be in Insaya hopefully soon. And then she turns to Dwang. Okay, we have to convince them to give us the ship, and we need to take it back to Insaya like as soon as possible.
Okay.
Because this was the Queen's response when I told her about Ravathun. Oh, fuck. So we got to go.
That's very not a response I would expect from her. Succinct, panicked.
Okay. So we gotta go tell the kitty cat, hey, you can come with us, or we can take you home.
It's because we
need to get this train back on the tracks. Is that a saying? Are there trains? Airship back in the
there are trains.
There has to be
trains.
If there are airships, there's gotta be trains.
Okay,
Imagine skipping trains and going right to air travel.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't figured it out this way, but let's do that.
Trains are definitely a hell of a lot more common in certain areas than others. So like Ansaya doesn't have train related infrastructure, whereas Parfan is just basically the entire freaking country is just run off of only train travel. There's entire like underground complexes of just travel and distribution. So yeah, trains exist.
Imagine having advanced warships in the air and on the water and not having trains. Anyways, okay. How what's the vampire? What's her name?
Belladonna.
Belladonna.
We're gonna ask nicely first.
Didn't we already ask nicely first?
She had to find out information. We gave her information. She had to verify. And now we will ask nicely.
Okay. So we will ask Belladonna nicely for her ship and hiring her ship. What if she says no?
I haven't got that far in my head yet.
Okay, I just want.
I don't plan on taking her head unless she has like a harpoon and goes through Nawi's chest or something like that. So, I mean, the queen could probably commandeer it, but I will ask nicely because I would like to get home as soon as possible.
Okay, we'll ask Belladonna nicely for the ship. We'll ask the cat if they would like. Because we know the location of said cat's family, right? They did not end up being with the stasis animals.
The family is somewhere out in the mire.
Right.
We could leave the cat with Avi and Ty. It's a lost soul.
We could.
If it did not want to come with us to a whole ass new continent.
Correct.
Understood. Okay. I'm sure nothing can go wrong with this plan. I'm sure everything will go swimmingly, as everything has been so far.
So we should probably go ask the cat first, just in case murder has to happen.
Cat's still in Shikari's head?
On the other boat.
On the other boat. Okay.
The one we brought here.
How close are they? The two boats?
Oh, like it's
right next.
One port.
I mean, yeah.
You know, it's like a 5-minute walk from one end to the other. It's a very compact area. It's just always busy. Always.
That's fine. All right. Let's go ask the cat. And then convince Belladonna that we can take her ship with her on it and her crew.
Now, about that plan, do you mind if I offer Nawi's blood?
Yes. Yes, I mind. Enough of her blood has been shed. Let's go
No, he doesn't mind.
Let's go with someone else. I can offer my own blood. It's not very special.
Hiroki is with us, right?
Hiroki is with... Maybe if we offer Hiroki's blood.
Hiroki's blood. Yes.
The
Hiroki's
power of
celestial.
friendship. No, I think Hiroki is with Avi. Isn't Hiroki with Avi?
That's where I left him.
Yeah, you
okay.
You were all together, and then eventually, like, you would have.
Yeah, we two went to
you
docks.
would have kept going, whereas Avi would have stayed in the kitchen.
In the group chat, you guys hear, Hiroki, would you mind donating blood?
Out of context.
I mean, if it's needed.
Yes. Dawn just says yes. Perhaps.
Just meet us at the harbor when you can.
Okay.
We need the power of friendship.
Yes.
I know. You okay? You're looking a little. You look a little distracted there. You all right? Have I been talking too much? Sorry, I'm just really interested with like because I've only been offering like one kind of coffee, but you're saying there's a whole different kinds of ways that you can prepare the beans, and all of a sudden you're just like a little out there, and I'm
And like every continent has its own different style and blends, and the flavors taste different. And oh, there's so much I can tell you about this.
Oh, it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Like the little notebook has now turned into like a 8-page spread of just everything that that you've been willing to kind of teach Hiroki. Just
I'll
in
have
depth.
I'll have to come back and like make you some coffee.
Oh yeah, no, of course you have places to be and people to save and all sorts. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I'm so sorry for taking up a bunch of your time, but I appreciate I really appreciate all of this happening here.
I very much hope to see you again, and yeah, we'll have that coffee at some point, right? Next time I'm in town.
A coffee sounds fantastic. I'll make sure to cook something nice up as well.
Can you hear Mara say, Hiroki, can you get the recipe for that jambalaya while you're there?
I'll see what I can do. So my friends also they really love your jambalaya. Would we be able to like get your recipe, or is that a family secret? I understand.
Oh, okay. That's all right. Right. That's good. And they will turn around and just say, it is a well-known recipe, but the only way to learn it is by doing it. So, this means that you have a reason to come back and have that coffee with me. And they'll kind of just chuckle to themselves as they grab a whole bunch of containers and begin kind of like moving pots and pans and things like that. And they just they kind of just begin to fill these containers out of this huge pot off to the side, like moving ingredients and sorting some things out, and just and then, right there. And then, as I say, it'll be an excuse for you to come back. But for now, and kind of just hands over this huge stack of containers your way. Just it'll keep for a fair bit there. Put a few secret ingredients that will help preserve. That'll last for a few weeks.
And I feel like the containers are like taller than Hiroki's
Yes.
head at this point. So like kind of look around the containers. Well, I'll let you know when I'm back, and we'll have that coffee.
Sounds fantastic. Oh, and I'll make sure to put these to good use as well. And kind of just points towards the notebook, the pages. All right, you take care now. Keep safe.
You too. Keep doing what you're doing. It's people like you that help, bring the good in the world. We need that.
There's a beautiful big grin on their face as they turn back around and kind of begin going back to cooking and putting some more ingredients in and getting back to work. Bless them.
Group chat. On my way back to the dock. Dewan, guess what? I got leftovers.
You just like, you don't hear any words, but just like a flood of pure joy gets set, like just like a fucking giddy gif of someone dancing in the group chat. Of like fist pump in the air. Elation.
These
and
are.
I think the next time I'm back, I have a coffee date.
A coffee? Power of friendship.
We're on the maiden voyage.
What's that?
That's the ship we're on.
Oh, okay, that's the ship I'm looking for. Got it.
It's like a dramatic proclamation. No, it's just
We're
it's
on
just the name of the
maiden
ship.
voyage.
We're doing it, guys. And with that, and I cannot stress this enough, these containers are huge. You've got like 2 weeks worth of just jambalaya here. That's essentially what it is. As you begin to make your way towards the boats and to meet up with the rest of the party here, gear in tow, Jacaranda, as you spend a moment with Ty and perhaps a few more discussions and questions that are asked and answered. Nawi, as you begin to make your way back and the rest of the party begin to sweet talk, belladonna, perhaps, we'll pick up from there next session, where we go ahead and resolve all of this and see whether you actually manage to get your hands on a ship or not. Let's see. But yeah, we'll go ahead and pick that up next session. That was fun. That was good fun. Sorry for the exposition dump, but that was very much kind of getting a bunch of threads from across the campaign and kind of finally getting that opportunity to stitch them together. So that's been fun. But yeah, we're going to go around the horn here real quick and just give everyone a chance to plug what they would like to plug before we go ahead and retire for the evening. So actually, let's start with Rochelle.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Dragon Gem here on Twitch, the Dragon Gem on Twitter. I stream on my own channel on Sundays at 3 p.m. Mountain. I play lots of puzzle games, but because it's October, I'm playing spoopy games. Played Layers of Fear last night, it was really fun. All proceeds from my channel are donated to local animal shelters, so you should come by, drop some bits, or subscribe. And yeah, that's me.
Akemi.
Hi, I'm Akemi. I play Hot Boy Magical Girl Warlock Hiroki. I play games occasionally. I make games occasionally, and you can find me on the internet at Ninja Penguin AM. Off to whoever's next.
Alice.
Hello, I am Ellis, also known as Jack, the tree person. And you can find me at So Much Geek, SEW Much Geek on Instagram and Twitter. And I usually post things there if there are things to post. So that's where you can keep up with whatever I do.
Jesse.
Hi, I'm Jessie, also known as Dawan, Naoi's loved one. I do art things. I'm going to post some recent art things. I have to wait until the actual podcast, the stream that I did the art for posts the art, and then I'm going to post individual. Anyways, I do art things. You can check out my art things on Juice the Moose on all the social medias. And I'm finally getting over my sick. Doesn't sound like it right now, but I am. And I'll come back stronger.
Yes, that is a threat. Austin.
Hey, buddy. My name is Austin. My pronouns are he, they, she. I am Naui, whose pronouns are she, they. You can find me over on Twitter at SalesCalsons, at Taylor CTLson. I'm a professional game designer, writer, performer, and friend. And I'm not doing that. I have a podcast, Secret Histories and Mid Mysteries, that you can find anywhere you get podcasts every other Wednesday-ish. Other than that, find me on Twitter to see what I'm up to on any given day, week, hour, month, or second. I am on there too much.
It's always good. It's always good stuff. Every time I see when you post something, I'm like, yeah.
Don't encourage it.
We have to encourage it. Otherwise, how do we get more?
Exactly.
Very, very true. As always, follow all these wonderful people and support all that they do. They are brilliant, and I love sharing a table with them. Much love to Izzy, who couldn't make it tonight, but we miss you dearly, and I'm sure Iris is enjoying the T-pose planting very much.
Shit, where did we leave Iris?
Iris T-posing and clipping through the whole session.
I would assume
She's
they're
tethered
coming
to
back
one
to
of
the
us.
boat with you. Yeah, I would assume they're coming back to the boat with you.
They had
Um,
like a room on the other, on like the big ship, right? So
yeah,
like,
they had spent some time on the Millennium, so they're all good. But yeah, much love. Hope you're feeling better soon, Izzy. And yeah, oh, me. Hi, I'm Ray. I'm the GM for the Mind of the Martyr. I do things both on screen and behind the scenes with Friends Who Roll Dice. I am a TTRPG creative, professional GM, all of that good stuff. You can find me on Start Playing if you want to jump in with some games with me. That'd be pretty fun and pretty hype. You can find me loafing around on Twitter sometimes. I will probably be streaming on my personal channel tomorrow with some Final Fantasy Tactics because I feel like it. And I have a whole bunch of other stuff that I can't talk about. So yeah, awesome. I love NDAs, but Jesus Christ, it's so hard to promote anything where it's like I'm doing a thing in like a year maybe.
I have
Look
an
out for
announcement
that.
about an announcement that I can't talk about yet.
Exactly. I have an announcement about a project that's happening 6 months to a year from now. But yeah, so follow me on Red Mage Ray, and check out Friends Who Roll Dice as well. Follow us at Friends Who Roll Dice. We currently have a player call for a 24-hour charity stream, and we're planning to, especially in the new year, get a whole bunch of new shows going. So keep an eye there for any casting calls and all of that good stuff. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and share the love that you have given us elsewhere. I'm going to go get some water and deal with the cat that I can hear running around downstairs, and hope that they've not got a mouse. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will hopefully see you next week. Stay hydrated, stay medicated, and keep moving forward. We will see you very soon. Bye.